inhale as the arms come down towards the body. Big inhale, think of the breath coming out into the sides of the lungs as the arms open. Good. One more circle. And here, as the arms lift towards the ceiling, start to pick up the head. Keep exhaling as you curl the chin towards the chest, bringing the arms down by your sides, and begin to pump the arms up and down now. Inhaling and exhale. Good. As you continue to work the pumping and the breath, keep your eyes really focused on the abdominals here. It can get really tempting to want to look at your hands, or I always want to look at you guys, right? But the more that you can kind of focus your literal gaze on the belly button, firstly, that's going to help keep the head in a much more organized and stable position here during our curl. If I start looking up at my knees, it really will do some weird stuff to my neck and head. Makes it very hard to breathe and talk. Keep the eyes focused in. Try to allow your pumping size to increase and maybe get a little bit quicker through these last couple of breaths, trying to challenge the stability of the body by increasing the vigor in the arms. Last inhale and exhale. Good, and you can slowly roll the shoulders, neck, and head back down. Reach the arms back overhead and go ahead and walk or slide the legs out to straight in front of you. As always, you can keep the knees a little bit bent for your roll-ups if you wish. And let's start with the palms working on the ground today for the roll-up. So from this position, we're going to flex the ankles and toes, open the arms out to the side, and rotate so that the palms are facing down. On this inhale, we'll start to pick up the skull, curl the chin towards the chest. Think of squeezing the arms together as you start to peel forward, dropping the head down. And you can let the arms kind of keep sliding outside of the legs so that they reach all the way out towards the wall in front of you to finish that stretch. On the inhale, we're going to start to roll back. You can either set the hands down and slide them out to the sides again, or just keep the arms reaching in the air if you prefer. Good. Take a nice long stretch at the bottom, opening out the arms, and start the second curl. Really try to feel like you're pushing the palms into the floor, but at the same time, the arms are trying to squeeze together. So it's sort of similar to that exercise that we were doing on the hands and knees, where we were having the shoulder blades squeeze in and slide out. We're using those strong muscles squeezing in to kind of help push the body forward so that we're not just relying on those deep abdominals alone. It's like a little bit of training wheels for the core body muscles. Good. Yeah, and if you're like, I don't need no stinking training wheels, you can, of course, take your last 2 or 3 here working with the arms in that more traditional position, rounding forward and inhaling to start your roll back. Good. 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 So through this last 1 or 2, if you're like, I don't even need arms, I'm so strong, that's amazing. Keep the arms higher, like they're going to stay right on either side of the head. This makes it much more challenging to get over that sticky spot. Oh, I'm going to make it. Adds a little bit of weight to the upper internal obliques. But it's a nice way to start to challenge yourself if you're looking for something a little bit different in your roll-up. Once you find yourself lying on your back again, we're going to go ahead and move into our single leg circles. So let's start with the left leg today. You can keep the right leg long or you can bend it, whichever you like. And bring the left knee up towards the chest. And give it a little hug. Let's circle this foot and ankle 2 or 3 times each way. Good. Once you've completed those ankle circles, take the hands away and bring the arms down by your sides. And think here about those shoulder blades kind of sliding apart away from the spine without letting the chest kind of round forward, right? So we're trying to get the most space that we can. It's a good sweater for this. From the end of the neckline of my sweater on one side to the other, but I want it to be very symmetrical front and back, right? So oftentimes we'll think about widening the scapula and we'll kind of do this. So now this front measurement has gotten much shorter than the back measurement, which is very, very big. Similarly, when I squeeze them together, now the front measure is really, really big, and the back measure has gotten very, very short. So I'm trying to get like maximum width front and back, which is much harder to do than say. But keep working with that, and you can use the action of sort of pressing the arms down into the ground to help create a little bit more broadness across the shoulders and across the chest as well. And then we'll extend the left leg out long towards the ceiling. Think here about the way that the weight has shifted or not in your pelvis. Oftentimes when we stretch this left leg up towards the ceiling, we kind of lose the anchor on the right hip in this case. So I end up sort of, this is an exaggeration obviously, with my right hip way lifted up and my left hip really weighted down. So as you extend this leg up, think about pressing the right hip down in opposition to the stretch of the left leg. Good, good. And then on this inhale, circle the left leg across the body, down, around, and up, and pause. Keep that right hip firm over the body, down, around, and up, and check the shoulders. Inhale and exhale, long leg. One more. And then reverse. Opening out, sweep down, across, and up. Check the right hip. Make sure it stays really solid. In particular here, as we bring the leg out to the side. That's the hardest part, to not kind of let the tail wag you, as one of my teachers would always say, where the leg kind of drags the body around during the circle. So really fight that inertia. One more for this leg. Open with control. Sweeping around and up. And then we'll bend the left knee. Let's give it another little hug here. Good job, left leg. And extend that left leg out onto the mat. Again, option to keep the foot pressing down if that's more comfortable. And we'll bring the right knee back towards the chest. Just giving this leg a little bit of a hug here. Circle the right foot and ankle 2 or 3 times. Reverse if you haven't already. And then at the end of your circles, try to leave the right leg pretty stable where it is. Take the arms down by your sides. And again, give yourself a moment, maybe even a whole breath here, to find that width across the chest and between the shoulder blades across your back. Squaring up the hips so that as I start to extend my right leg up towards the ceiling, I feel like I'm pulling my left hip down, creating the strongest axis through the left side of my body, from the back of my super wide shoulder all the way down through my waist, hip, thigh, and heel. And then with this next breath, we're going to circle the right leg across the body, down, around, and up, and pause. Over the midline, Long stretch through the leg, around and up, and pause. As we finish up on this side, let's add like a little bit more velocity to the leg on the second half of the circle. So we're going to go across, very controlled, and then we're going to like swing it around and up. One more bonus one in this direction. Across. Strong abdominals to pick it back up. And then same in the reverse. Let's do the first two very kind of smooth and controlled. Open to the right. Lengthening down. Across. And up. Watch for that left hip getting dragged over by the right leg. Good. Good. And then adding in that little swing, that increased velocity out to the side, down, across, and up. Out to the side, shoulders don't change, across and up. Good. So adding the velocity here exactly like we were looking at in the hundreds. It's just a subtle way. One more circle. And then you can bend that knee towards the chest. A subtle way to increase the challenge as we become, more intermediate than beginner, right? We're going to keep repeating these exercises. They become very familiar. We can keep teasing more nuance and refinement out of them. But you can also experiment with varying the tempo, the speed, and the sort of destabilizing effects of those changes to help just kind of spice up the things you already know. Hundreds and leg circles are great places to play around with that. Let's go ahead and come up to sitting. We'll do our rolling like a ball. So standard transition, you can set the feet down flat. You can use your whole palm, or you can make fists and press into the knuckles. We're just going to stand into the feet and the hands, pick up the hips a little bit, scoop the belly as you curl the tail under and forward, and sit yourself right back down. Take one hand forward to catch your shin, and then the other. Keeping the spine round, but again here, think about where the shoulder blades are. Often when we make this transition and move the hands forward, we'll end up really hoisting the shoulders up towards the ears, which is a rational, normal thing to do here. It just doesn't look super comfortable, and I'm going to have a very hard time rolling back onto this area with so much kind of elevation in the scapula. So let the shoulders fall away from the ears and then really try to spread them apart as far as you can. Almost like if I could pull my shoulder blade around and down towards my elbow. Good. Keep hollowing out the abdominals. We'll lift up just the heels first, coming right onto your tippy toes. Once you feel confident that you can hold your body in this position, pick up the feet and let yourself roll back. Exhale, rolling up. Again, roll back. Exhale, curling up. Yeah, good. Keep going for 3 to 5 more of these and really try to feel that because the scapula are so big and wide and spread out onto the arms here, that I can actually hover on my shoulder blades just a little bit longer. You might have to let the feet kick up a little bit to help you there. That's perfectly okay. We just want to get comfortable with that feeling of being able to pause. Good. Good. You can let the feet release down. Let's let the knees open out to the sides here, soles of the feet together, and just take a nice easy stretch forward there. Nice. And then you can extend the legs back out in front of you. We're going to use a nice roll-up transition to move ourselves into the stomach series. We're just going to do the first 2 of these today because I'm lazy. And I don't want to do any of them. So there it is. With the legs nice and anchored here, you can have flexed feet, pointed feet, legs together, legs a little apart, whatever makes you happy. We're going to round the spine forward, hollowing out the abdominals in front. And again, you can work with hands on the ground if you prefer. Start to curl the pelvis under, smoothly laying the spine down just until the tips of your shoulders touch. And then we're going to slide the right knee towards the chest, moving the left hand onto the right knee and the right hand down to the right ankle, and keep drawing the abdominals in and trying to pull this leg towards you and pull yourself up into a tighter curl until the left leg can just float off of the ground. And then on the next breath in, we're going to switch the legs. Switch 1 and 2. Exhale, switch and switch. 1 and 2, and breathe out. And inhale, exhale. Good. As you keep working this, again, just like with hundreds, eyeballs should look at your belly button, not your hands and knees. I know the hands and knees are moving around and doing cool stuff. They're not important. It's the body that is important. So watch what the body does. Watch what the hips do. Finish your last inhale and exhale, and bend 2 knees, lower the head and shoulders down. And let's just turn the head a little bit side to side here to release the throat. Good. And then we'll do the double leg stretch. I think it was last week, but it feels like a million years ago. Was it last week that we did that horrible deconstructed double leg stretch?
Yes.
Ugh, all right, so think about that. It's terrible and awful. What we did was worked just the legs, and then we also practiced just the arms, strengthening the lower and upper abdominals separately. So now we're going to put those two ideas together. Knees are in towards the chest, hands on the shins or the ankles. And when you come to this next breath, again, we're going to float the skull, curl the chin towards the chest, and peel up into a nice high position. Shoulder blades widening away from the spine, abdominals squeezing tight around the middle, and try to exhale here for as long as you can until you absolutely think you're going to pass out, and then use your next inhale to stretch the arms and legs away from each other. Exhale to pull it all together again. Inhale, strong curl. Try not to fall backwards. Here again is a place where we tend to want to follow our hands with the eyes, but then we end up kind of leaving the head back here, which then makes my neck hurt. I'm sure you're shocked. So keep the eyes on the belly button, just 2 more. Try to hold on to those core body muscles through the whole exercise. Nothing changing in the center. Good, and then we can rest everything down. Take a second there just to kind of clear the slate, and then let's bring the knees back towards the chest if you let them go. And we're just going to do a little rolling like a ball transition to come up to seated. So you can hold on to the shins or ankles in the usual fashion. If you already know you hate this transition, try holding on to the backs of the thighs so you can actually use your legs to generate more momentum. Don't tell anyone I told you that. With this next breath, I'm going to keep pulling my legs towards me so that I actually feel my pelvis kind of lifting a little bit off of the mat. Not so much that I'm uncomfortable in my lower spine, but enough that I really feel like my tail is up. And then on the next exhale, I'm going to curl my head and shoulders forward and really think like I'm trying to get up higher than I was in my double leg stretch. Yeah, correct. And then just gently start to let yourself rock back and forth, gradually picking up a little bit of momentum by really lifting up the hips when you roll back. Good. Good. And here again is where you can kind of use the feet if you really need some help. Once you've got yourself up to sitting, let the feet drop down. We'll open the legs up for our spine stretch forward. So in keeping with our wider shoulder blade theme that we're working with here today, let's do the spine stretch keeping the hands down on the mat. You can certainly bolster your hips up a little bit or bend the knees if it's uncomfortable to sit up straight like this. Turn a little angle here. There we go. So I'm going to set my fingertips down kind of right between the thighs. I'm sitting nice and tall here and kind of pressing down into the pads of my fingers to help myself feel like I can push my spine up a little bit taller, but without shrugging the shoulders up into the ears. So the fingers go down, the abdominals lift up. Good. Good. And then on the next exhale, I'm going to tilt my chin down first. As I continue to nod the head, I'm going to slide my hands forward. So now they're like in my kneecap zone. And then I'm going to keep rounding, keep opening the space between the shoulders and the spine. Slide the hands even a little further towards your heels. And when you cannot exhale anymore, inhale, start to pull the ribs back, but keep the head down. So we're not going to come all the way up to our straight and tall posture. You want to keep the upper spine curved. And then on this next exhale, widen the shoulders even further. Again, slide the hands like 50% of the way forward. And then even further to like 75 or 80%. Keep wringing out the air. And when you inhale, slide the hands back, stacking up through the waist and the ribs. Just one more time. Pull the toes toward the belly button and slide the fingers away, creating as much space not only between the shoulder blades as possible, but even between the individual ribs. Try to make that big puffed up rib cage like the sail of a sailboat, and inhale to stack back up, this time allowing the shoulders, neck, and head to also come upright on top of your long, lovely spine. Good. Very nice. Let's do